day, everybody, and welcome back to my P900 camera again. The last video, or the last P900 camera I did this one where the lens was sticking out and I couldn't get it back in. So it did happen again. And so what I've done is I've taken all the back off, removed the silver plate and got it down to this position where I could get the gearbox apart. Here's all the gearbox and the cover for the gearbox. I've got the screws safely somewhere else. These gears are fine, and like I was saying, it's back to the where the lens mechanism is stuck, and so I'm back to trying to figure out why it's sticking. I'm thinking it might be something to do with the home position, so when she goes fully extended, she's overdriving, but it's not. It's not electrical, it's mechanical, because I can actually bring it out myself, and I'll try and show you that. I'll just get this to come out now, and so she will drop under her own weight. Just to get her a little bit more. Is that the way? Oh, the right way, CJ. He says, hopefully. Right, so will that come out now? And so she comes out quite nicely. And back in again. Drives to there. Comes out. And then she's stuck now. I don't want to push too hard. Now there's no gearbox in there. As you can see, all the parts are down here. And there's no way I can get that back in. So if I can't do that with my hands, I don't think the motor's got any chance whatsoever of getting back in. But if I do turn the gearing, which is inside here, which is attached to the unit inside, if I go back the other way now, I can get it to free up. He says, it'll fall under its own weight when it does do. He says. And so it is actually just gone free there. It wasn't too much of an effort to get that. So it must be, I think, one of the races inside here with the race guide, or one of the race pins, is actually might be just catching a deformity in the very end of the race. And so I'll bring it out again. There, not very much force at all. Oh, that was, I managed to get that back in then. That is, let's just bring that out. I have to probably get it all the way down again. Yes. Bring it back. Didn't expect that at all. Right, so that's fully home. Bring it back out again. Yeah, she needs to come up. Probably better if I put it down. I can see what I'm doing. There we are. She's back down. And she comes back out again. She will go in and out. Like I say, if I bring it out like that, I don't want to force it too much. I'm putting a bit of force on there, and she's still not coming down. So if I just gently take that, so it will turn. He says, hopefully. I've got a thinner screwdriver this time, and it's or thinner blade, so I have to make sure I don't. And she's there. So to actually have a look and see what the problem is, I'm going to have to take this out. Now to take that out, I've removed the plate. I'm going to have to take the, for ease, I'm going to have to access 4 screws down here, which means taking all of these cables off, removing the flash unit and the 4 screws, and then I don't have to take the CMOS array off, but I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to start by disconnecting these cables here. Now I might need my little glass to see this, just to make sure I'm not going to do anything untoward. I do have a little blade somewhere. There she is, under there. Now I'm just going to pop the flaps for the, let's get a little bit more light in there so I can see what it is I'm doing. So that's from the back, that one. I'm going to take that out. Yep. And then the second one. And then the third one. I think that's the back. Yeah, front one. So I could have taken that one off on the floating PCB there. So that's those 3. They can only go back one way. And so to take this off, what we have to do is underneath, you'll find there's 2 screws. I'm not sure if you've got to see that. There's 2 screws. Well, there's 1 screw in there which I've removed. And then what she'll do is she'll slide back and then pop up. But you have the restriction here. So you just need this to lift enough to get the, so when you pull this out, she will come out. Now the mount also has to come out because you've got to get to a screw in here. Then you'll just see that head there. You could possibly get it out, but it's a bit of a tight fit to get that screw, get it past the screw mount. So the first thing is I'm just going to actually slide this, the flash unit. Make sure those 2 are out inside, yes. And just going to push that forward. As you see, that pushed forward slightly there. And then I should be able to just lift that. And the cables are actually catching on one of the body connectors there. So just need to just be mindful that's not going to snag completely on that. Just going to push it back down again, make sure I'm out. It's a bit tight. Get that in there. So another easy way to do is, because that is quite tight, there is a screw all the way down inside the battery compartment. You can take that out to actually pop the, get a bit of slackness on this button panel here. So I'm just going to take that one out if I can see it in there. Yep, it is in there. Let's put that back in over there. And then I should be able to just lift this assembly up. He says. Yep. I've done this a few times before. I'm just trying to not to manhandle this too heavily, because I don't want to break anything here. I'm sure that's all the screws are out there. There's nothing underneath. No, she's coming. She's coming. You can see that she's slightly loose there. Yeah, bit of persuasion, perhaps. Come on, you beggar. Right, now will that work? Can that go past? But the cable's in the way. And there's that out. There we are. That's going to come out that way. So I should be able to get access to the other bolt down inside here now. So I shall take that out straight away. And get this up the road. Let's have a look at that. If I can point it towards the camera so you see what I'm doing. Get a bit of a light in there. That one's going to come out. Let's take this one out first. I'll show you what the screw looks like. They're quite longer. So I'll just leave those down because there's 4 of them. I'm sure she's coming out. Bit tricky, that one. There's one down here. It's always the last one to come out. There's the second one. Third one is over by the camera mount. And then this fella here. Oh, she's still not coming out, that one. Go in at a different angle. That's got it. Just better. Keep it flat. And then what you'll find is as that screw comes out, I'm holding the body of the camera. Actually, she just dropped. So, but what happens then is the whole thing's now become loose. You see that? So she's dropped. And now all I have to do is just hold these cables out of the way. And this whole thing should come out now. As long as it, there we are. The whole thing should just come out nicely. And that screw is in there. That's it. Get that last screw out. There she is. Now, I'll put the body to one side a minute. Right, so now we have, this is the zoom mechanism. And if I show you the gear, it's actually inside there. Now if I drive this again, without it being in the camera, I should be able to drive it. wish I got my bigger, sorry, wrong screwdriver. What am I like? So what's actually happening, if I hold that, there we go. And so you can see it starts to come out here. If I just get it out a bit more, you can start to see it drive out, the thing's turning in like so. Which doesn't look too dirty or anything, but now when I try and push on that, it's not doing it, but I can physically turn it, you see? It's just grabbing something right on the end, and she won't push in until I turn it slightly. No, she's not turning. I don't, if I do anything like this, I'm probably going to make it worse. Yes, it's very tight now, but I can turn it that way. Now, to get this off, what you have to do is to take this base unit off here with the CCD, or I'll call it the CCD gearbox housing. And you've got two cables. You've got this one and this one. Now, it's very important. You're very careful with this small cable because this goes to the fine focus motor, and this one drives the. I can show you it pulls back in the lens. So that's obviously for the CCD array, and that's for all the motor controls here and the opto, which is housed in here. And it runs off to another opto, which does go down to the fine focus motor in here. I can show you that. Now, when you remove these, you have to be very mindful because these cables have to go through. So I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to disconnect the motor. There's only this, the larger of the two cables, has a flap on it, and it's very easy to lose that flap if you're not careful with it. You have to hold it down because it's a bit flimsy. If you want that thing to ping off, and it comes out that way. Now, just a word of advice is when this cable goes back in, it has to be gold outwards. So it's going in gold outwards to the connector. All right. It's a bit counterintuitive, but that's what it is. And this fella here, the smaller cable, that just pulls straight out. Very carefully, just pull it out. He says, I've got a pair of tweezers which is just falling through it. There we are. And again, same with this one, gold outwards, facing outwards. Once these cables are disconnected, then you can take these three screws out. I did have a lovely crosshair screwdriver, a long thin one. I don't know where it's gone. Now these screws, they're pretty much the same as the 4 screws for the bolt down of the whole lens assembly with inside the housing. So, oh, that's a different one. It's one I made earlier. Okay, so with those screws out of the situ, now what will happen, this will lift off now, as you can see, but this cable here is on a clamp. I say a clamp, it's just a guide, and there's a little pin that holds that round cable in, and this is under a little shoulder hook as well. So you have to free these up. I would say just gently work it out so that it can stand up, and then you can then lift away and the cables will pull through without any resistance whatsoever. Now obviously inside there you can see you've got a little gasket in there, rubber gasket, and I would suggest keeping this quite safe. So I'm going to put it down on a nice cloth to stop any dust getting in there, because I'm a bit mucky today on my jumper. Now, one word of caution is that when you disassemble this, and you have the cables swung out here, this cable is already sort of set to expand and contract, is folded in a way. So when you pull this out, if you make a note of how long that cable is, when you've got it out of situ, this one stays. This one doesn't go. This is for the motor, and then this one will run down with the lens extension. So sometimes when people have had a go at this, they've jammed this cable and it's ripped, and so then it has to be all stripped down, and this part has to be replaced. But as you can see, it's quite a thing. Now there are idents on these for it to come together, but I'm going to show you how I take them off. And so when you bring this one down here, she comes straight out. Now on this mechanism, you've got an ID and an ID on that. You could actually physically mark them yourself. So when it drops down, and that would be the home. That's the home position now. So, and then it carries on a little bit. So you could technically mark it however you want to mark it as the final before you take it apart. But because I've done a few of these, I know where the IDs are. And then again, that cable will allow that cable to go through and then pull up, and out she comes. And what you'll find is on here, you'll have the ident marks as well as ident marks down here. And that's got the lens on it. Right, so put that to one side. Now, this is probably the one which gets a lot of people, right? So now you can actually take out this part. Now, when you rotate it, he says rotate it, come all the way around, and then when you see it pop, when it's on the cusp of going back down again, you can then pull him out. Let's get that around to there. There it should be flat. That should come out now, he says. There we are. And that's all you need to do. And then you can see the two motors in there. One's for the it's the aperture and the shutter mechanism. And these are identified. You have on here. Let's see if I can see that. You have a little mark on that side which will line up with the dot on this race, I do believe. And then once you've done that, you go back completely the other way, so you can see in there, and then that should separate. He's saying hopefully it should. Was it the other fully way? Let's go back the other way. This should separate somehow. Is it that fully around that way? There we are. And then the shutter mechanism comes out, and that's with that cable. The last bit, the other fine focus lens in there, will stay where it is. But then you go back the other way again, and then you can pull it out. So now we can check this one in a minute, but I want to show you where this little cable is, right? And there, this is the little motor which will drive the fine focus in and out. There you can see that. So this cable has to come all the way through, and the shutter control mechanism. Actually, that's looking in quite good order. Actually, it's nice and flat and closed. something shaking it. That's just the uh, the uh, the lens there is floating. So that's all nice and clean. Let's take a look at the races on the mechanism at the bottom. It doesn't look too bad, to be honest. It's a little. Oh, there we are. I'm not sure if you'd be able to see that. There is a slight. See if I can. Let's see if I can focus that in. Auto. See if I can focus that in. See that slight deformation there. Right. Right, where am I going? Right there. Right there. It's a little pip. Although when she's fully out, she's probably pretty much all the way down here. So it's like she's struggling to get past this point. So yeah. So I wonder what it would feel like if I put this back in. Let's have a look at the race. These are the races, or the runners. I should call these the runners, really. These are the runners which sit in that race here. And these are, I mean, they're metal. It's metal on plastic, that run in the plastic. So, yeah. But I'm going to take a quick look under the glass again to see if I can see anything at the end. Remember, this was a camera that I did strip down and took the gears out so I could see. Excuse me for the bright light. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. There's nothing that looks worn there, or there's no debris there on that fella. Is anything on the gearing on the edge? No, it looks fine. That's the only thing I can see down there. Now there is a slight divot in it's going to be very hard to see. There's a slight divot down inside that very end where it could just be allowing the metal runner to sit in. That one's okay. I can see some witness marks on there, but nothing to write home about. Or that one, but it's definitely that one looks. Which one was it? It's this one. It definitely looks as if it's had some sort of yeah, some sort of chunk out of it. It could have been when the gearbox broken and when the part came in and it ran down here and jammed, but I can't see where that part is. I thought I had everything out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause it here and just give this a bit of a clean up and see how we go from there. Now, where was I? Right, okay, so I'm just getting this back together again with this, being very mindful of the cable. You can just push that lens back down in there. I'm just going to make sure that she's clean. Yep, she's clean. And on this unit, you have a where can I see it? You have a number 1 here. Not sure if you'll be able to see that. It's called a number 1. Put that back down. And on this unit, you have on the side, you have a number 1. If you see that, should be in the casing. And then what you do is you get the number 1 from here. Where did I see it? There we are. And be very mindful of that cable. You could probably just tag it back slightly, but make sure she doesn't snag. And then you're going to line up the number 1 on the frame, and she should, you might hear the motor give. Let's make sure that's in that way. It's slightly offset. She should, nope, that's not right. So I'm just going to bring her out again. Make sure I've got the 1 and 1. I think it's probably round that way. Should come back in. That should go in. Yep, and then rotate it. If it doesn't go down, no. Gently pull it back out again. She should come out. You definitely have to line up the ones, but when you put this in, make sure the cable's pulled back. Make sure it's not screwed over, bent over that way. You need this cable to be out that way, so she'll go through. Just gonna line that number 1 again, and then make sure with the key around the circle there, you can see how it's going to go in. So the big one there is indicating that I need to be there. Is that right? So she should, nope, that's gone in. There we are, she slots right in. And you should be able to pull that in and out all the way, and then make sure that I think I've got that cable isn't snagged. And she's all the way down. Now once it sits all the way down, what you need to do is rotate it. Can I rotate it? No, I can't. Does it come up? No, I cannot rotate that. That's because I've got that lens mechanism. You need to push that back down again, all the way down, and then I should be able to rotate it all the way around. It's very important you do this all the way around, and then it should stop. And then what you need to do is you need to back it off slightly so that notch there aligns. The cable is through. The 2 lenses are back in their home position. I might just give that end one a little wipe because I did, I think, touch that with my finger. I'll just give that a little wipe. So that's the fine focuses in, and that's the position you want to be in, with that all the way down, both of them all the way down. Now, what I have to do is I have to drop the shutter mechanism in, and if you remember, the 2 motors were pointing outwards. So you see this little flange here, if you want to call it a better word, that flange should line up inside there, so it will pass this bit. Sorry, put that down. It'll pass, get it right on the orientation for the camera. It'll pass this piece here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is and you've got the 3 little nodules on there, which should line up on here. So when you push that through, that's how it's, sorry, let me get that round the right way. Yes, I was right the first time, CJ. That's going to come into there. Let me get this to face the camera. And she should drop in. And the cable, yeah, that's going to be, maybe I shall just try and get that cable arranged in a way that I can get it to come out. As you can see here, that's the race for the cable. She's going to bend like so into there and then come out, because as the lens mechanism comes out, she's going to fold down and come out like this. Yeah. So I need for that to be, ideally you want to get this cable through first somehow, but I don't think it's going to be that easy. It's never going to be that easy. But when I get that through, and when I start to turn that, she drops. See that, how it's dropping back in? You turn it back again, and hopefully you should be able to see that cable, and then you can just gently pull her through. He says, hopefully. Pull it back out again. Get that cable to come through. If I show it, you can see there what I'm doing. Where's that cable? You can't see it there. You can just see that it's bent over there. So I'm just going to release that cable. I don't need hardly any force on it at all. Just to get that to come back through. Come on. There she's coming, she's coming. There we go. Nearly. Do it again. It's always better with offset tweezers. Now what you could do is you could attach a bit of thread to this, and she doesn't really like it. It's probably better if I do get another pair of tweezers there. Let's try a different pair of tweezers to try and get that out. A bit longer pair to get through. I don't think they're going to be any good. Right, let's get these in. No. Bit up, bit there. It's always worse when someone's watching you. I could always get it out again, rotate it back, pull it out, and then just make sure if I bend that one around a bit more, like so, I might be able to straighten that out some, and then try and get it to behave itself, get it back in again. See how that looks. Not quite the same, but let's see if she's a bit. Okay. It's not going to get snagged there. Use the offset ones again. Patience is the order of the day. It seems a bit tight, that really. I don't know why. Why is that so tight? Very tight indeed. I'm not happy about that. I'm going to take that out again. Straighten it up. See if I can get that to be persuaded to go down like so through the orifice. So if I hold that there and see how she looks. Can't see the cable. again. I think I had it run the wrong way there. That way. Right, just take that out. Put it back into position. Drop it in. That should be going around there. Yep. No, I can't seem to get this in now. That's strange. What's happening now? Is that it? Nope. I definitely got it around the right way. Yes, I have. So as you can see there's pushing against this, which is pushing it in, which isn't ideal. She's dropped in now. But again, if I can get that cable out, no. Let's have a look there. Put it away that side. There we are. Ugh. No. Well, bear with me a minute. It's a bit fiddly. I will do it. I've done it a few times before, he says. I put that down and have two pairs of hands. It might work. Lift him up there. Then get that's it. That's all it needed. There we are. Two pairs of hands. There we are. So now this one will actually sit back down inside there. She should actually collapse in through there now. So I pull that out a little bit. Yep, she's going to collapse into there. Now then put that back down, like so. And she will collapse into there. Oh dear, she's come out, completely fallen out. We'll go back again, shall we? Right, let's do it again. While we're here. That's right, yep. Let's go back that way. Oh, I'm a glutton for punishment, aren't I? Well, I've got two pairs of hands now, I can see that. Now I've got two pairs of hands, just turn around slightly so she doesn't drop again. Pairs of hands. Yep, there's that fella there. And then get this fella there. Can't seem to get that out. There we are. There she is. That made it look easy that time, didn't I? Right, yes. Okay. So that comes down. We'll let that go through naturally, but I don't want it to come out. Drop it back down again. And there we are. Right, now getting this back inside. So this is going to come this way because that's the end, and we need it to go this way in. Now the ident on this is you have an arrow here. See if you can see that. There's an arrow mark, an arrow mark. Where's the arrow? Where's the arrow? There, it's next to the 1 again, I suppose. Next to the 1, but that's the arrow mark. And on here, you will have an arrow mark as well. That arrow mark is there. Not sure if you can see that, can you? No, actually, you need to see what it looks like, don't you? So, see if I can get that for you. It's definitely there. It's right above the wheel race, right above there. So you line that up with the mark on here, with the arrow next to the 1, and then what should happen is that if you align these up again, these races, I'm sure, yeah, you can't go all the way around the other way, and then that should technically slot in, he says. And it's not. Is that aligned? No. Okay, so let's see why that's not going in. Alright, let's have a look for any other IDs. Nope. Arrow 2. Do you know what? I think I had it on the wrong one. There. And she should automatically go all the way down. And she's not. Now, make sure that's that way around. Sorry, one. That's not it. And you can see and feel it straight away if it's there, if it's right or wrong. Nope. Now that should actually go in there now. Interesting. These should all line up. Yes. That's all the way down. Inside. I don't think we need, do we need to bring it back this way? Perhaps. Let's try that. Bring it all the way back again. That might be the fella. Maybe that's the step I was forgetting. So as she turns, she will bring that back. That's what I was forgetting, you see. So you need that to actually, there we are. You need to bring it back. That's what I didn't do. Right, so then she comes out. Notice how that cable's going in. Now that's where it was jamming. Bit of a, yeah. I guess the proof's in the pudding. Now what I want to do is for that to actually come all the way down. I want to bend that one back down again to make sure she is going to come out nicely. That's it. I need it to go into the race